Welcome to Season 2, Episode 7, May the Best Pet Win! Oh, this is just such a fun episode. I enjoy it quite a lot. Not a lot to say, and no bad friend points this episode. Nice! A main 6 episode with no bad friends. That's a rarity. Rarity. Anyway, let's get into it. Oh wow, we get a Rainbow Dash opening for the first time in a while, since it's, a Rainbow Dash episode. And we immediately get a Wings Don't Work Like That. When was the last time I got one of those, Dragonshy? Owlicious decides to hang out with Rainbow Dash and Racer. And in case you thought that was weird and out of nowhere, don't worry, it's just a dream sequence. Because now, Winona's head. Oh look, several of the pets have fused together in a Rainbow Dash dream sequence. I wonder what this episode could possibly be about. Yes, I know we all read the title. Ah! Truly horrifying imagery. Also, I think this type of background is their, quote, this isn't reality, end quote, type of background. Or it demonstrates some kind of shift in the character's mental. Rainbow wakes up to all of the pets harassing Opal because they want to play. Opal is up the tree, obviously. Why are they randomly here bothering Rainbow? Well, because the main 6 are having a pet play day with one another. Apparently the main 6 meet up every week for this event, which I'd like to call BS since having 5 people, over half of which have jobs, able to meet up every week at the same time in the same place is the type of goals everyone has. Granted, everyone except Pinky is self-employed, so I guess it's easier for them. They probably schedule around Pinky to come to think of it, but Pinky never really struck me as the responsible type. She can be, but we only see her working from time to time, so it's probably more likely that she's helping them out instead of being directly employed, or is more like a part-time situation. But she does have free reign of the kitchen, which is a little weird. I'm getting off topic. Let's move on. Gummy being attached to Pinky's ear is adorable. Pinky also proceeds to do her rapid explaining as to why Rainbow was never invited. Twilight knew she didn't have a pet. Rarity remembered that she liked to take naps in the afternoon when they're doing it, and Applejack figured Rainbow wouldn't mind since she wouldn't be missing out on anything because she didn't have a pet, and Flutter and Pinky just nodded along. Funny how I can picture this exact scene without them actually drawing or voicing it. That's good character writing at work. Rainbow brushes it off, saying they're right, she doesn't have a pet, and everything they said makes sense, which Applejack embraces and agrees once again before resuming their playday. We see what everyone's idea of playing is. Owlicious just flies around with Twilight running around after him, so like a little bit of chasing. Fetch for Winona and Applejack. Pinky bounces Gummy up and down. Rarity plays with Opal's favorite mouse, as we learned back in Season 1. And as for Fluttershy and Angel just kind of runs around while Fluttershy watches. Weird how the animal pony puts the least effort into actually playing. I mean, I guess Angel wants it this way, I guess? After Rainbow gets irritated because she was doing the bravado thing again, she mentions how she might want a pet eventually, which activates Fluttershy, who is now going crazy pressing Rainbow for details. The entire time, Angel is doing tricks on Fluttershy's tail as to not fall off, which is a really fun detail. We've seen Rainbow's weight limit while flying is around 4 to 5 ponies. We can now see that Fluttershy's is less than 1 pony, which isn't really unexpected, but it's good to confirm, despite the fact that I think we've seen Fluttershy carry another pony already, maybe? I genuinely can't remember this exact moment, but I'm decently sure we have. Rainbow lifts her legs and flaps her wings to help them get off the ground. Oh, it's so adorable. We have finally reached another song. Unfortunately, there's not much to review as it's basically just an exposition song going over the process of choosing a pet, but it's super fun and catchy, so, bonus points. Rainbow gives us a few criteria she wants her pet to have over the course of the song. Her first 2 are quote-unquote awesome and cool, which, like what most of Rainbow says, is subjective and unspecific, which makes it worthless. So Fluttershy just starts naming animals because she likes them all and thinks they're all cool and awesome, which is wholesome. Rainbow's next criteria is quote-unquote something fast as a bullet, which means guns not only exist, but so do bullets. I'm pretty sure we've seen starting guns for races, but this implies guns for warfare also exist, which, how would they even use them, let's be honest? They'd have to be designed differently. I don't think we meet anyone assumed to have been like a veteran or anything, and we do know technology was even more rudimentary in the past as soldiers with standard weapons like spears and swords were depicted, and even directly seen, which begs the question of bullets are more of a fictional construct or something, maybe? Or if Equestria is like a post-apocalypse, but the apocalypse would have had to have been over 1,000 years ago minimum, since nothing has really been talked about during Celestia's rule. Prior to that was Discord's rule, and he can do things and make references from outside of the universe, so maybe that could have been the time, or even before he came to this world, who knows? Someone out there probably does, since there's so much random information in that I can't possibly know all of it for this show, but my gut instincts say no guns or weapons of that kind appear in the mainline series of these episodes we're going to be going over. Maybe in the Power Ponies fantasy, but that's not real, so Anyway, enough about hypothetical war and strife. Rainbow's picking a pet. Fluttershy leads with her personal favorite, the bunny, which she calls cutesy and wootsy, which Rainbow appropriately responds with, quote, have you even met me? End quote. Girl knows what she's about. Throughout the song, while not like super overt, the pet Rainbow's gonna pick gets focused regularly, but not usually alone so as not to bury the lead. It's not super subtle, but it works if you're not paying super close attention or have any level of meta awareness for what would be a fun or funny or interesting pet. We have another requirement Rainbow wants it to have, and that is the ability to fly, obviously. Only for Fluttershy to try and pawn a cute kitty onto her. This is also probably the happiest we've ever seen Fluttershy. She's boisterous, singing her heart out and having the best time ever helping Rainbow. Though she's also trying to pawn fought off a seal and otter, which, again, as Rainbow points out, do not fly. So Flutters isn't doing the best she could, but she's happy, and that means we're happy. She then offers Rainbow a grasshopper or ladybug, however, neither of those can fly any respectable distance and would get thrown off of her instantly, which she conveys through her new requirements, larger than those bugs and cooler still. Still not a helpful qualifier, Rainbow. Next, Flutters offers a flying squirrel, which despite the name, do not fly, they glide, or fall with style if you're cultured. Again, Rainbow makes it very clear that she wants a pet that can fly. Flutters' next option is hummingbird and butterfly, which Rainbow calls better, but not cool enough apparently. I don't know, I think hummingbirds are metal AF. They're the only bird that can fly backwards, sort of like what the show keeps thinking Pegasi wings can do. Yes, I know their magic says they can do what they want. That doesn't make it better for me. The weird tortoise put on funny glasses when he hears her say she wants a cool pet. How funny and completely unrelated to anything that's going on. Owl, wasp, toucan, those are the next three. Those toucan's talons are drawn gnarly AF. Is that how they actually look? Hang on. Kind of, yeah. There are species that have blue talons as well, so that's kind of neat detailing. Finally, we get the big duo, the falcon and eagle. Now those are pets Rainbow's looking for. And the final option presented is the bat, which leads Rainbow to get excited but also upset for some reason. That reason being, instead of there being two little options, there are now too many. I didn't mention it before, but these animals should not be able to sit on clouds. That's like Pegasi magic, hence why other ponies can't do it. Do all flying creatures in Equestria have minute amounts of Pegasi magic? That's an idea that needs more evidence. And so we get to the meat of the episode's plot. Rainbow's gonna have a contest of speed, agility, and guts to find out which animal is best. So the tortoise is able to move its head outside of either side of its shell, which is not how tortoises work. Why is he even here? Also, the tortoise is the only animal Rainbow intentionally touches the entire song. I'm pretty sure. I'll double check. Yeah, other than the tortoise, Fluttershy pushes the cat into Rainbow's face, which wasn't Rainbow's decision. How interesting of a detail. Fluttershy reminds Rainbow that style and awesomeness should be considered since that's what she wanted. Fluttershy is great throughout this entire song, honestly. She's super happy and playing along with everything. She's never upset or disparaging of Rainbow's critiques and desires, while also playing up how awesome and cool Rainbow is because she believes her friend is both of those things. Great song, great friend moments for Flutters, and Rainbow gets good characterization. Not necessarily being the most manageable person, but displaying and communicating strong traits, which is good writing for better or worse. Rainbow title drops. Not very common in the series from what I've noticed. They use the My Little Ponies joke a lot, but not usually the episode title. And the other main six all show up in full support of the competition, which is super cute and sweet. Rainbow explains how she needs a pet that can keep up with her and isn't afraid of anything, and sounds more like she's recruiting mercenaries rather than a pet, which Applejack and Twilight comment on themselves with how pets are also a responsibility and need care and love and affection. So our competitors are all of the flying creatures as well as the tortoise, which Rainbow was trying to ban from competing, but Fluttershy pressures her because of how desperate the tortoise has been to get adopted. While explaining the competition, when she mentions speed as a factor, Rainbow creates literal rainbow fire. While probably a joke, how the hell did she pull this off? I don't even have some mumbo jumbo guess. This just isn't possible. Damn, Rainbow. Breaking physics. And I mean it even breaks the show's physics, because I'm pretty sure she never pulls off anything like this again. I don't think we ever see rainbow fire again. It's cool, don't get me wrong, but like, what? Agility is another factor she mentions, and she demonstrates it by leaving a rainbow after image, which is still iffy, but we've actually at least seen this done before, and it'll be done multiple times in the future, so this one is acceptable. And this is one of my favorite details in this episode. Rainbow is layered below the duck for some inexplicable reason. Hopefully this makes up for the fact that I missed the cutie mark layering in the last episode. Whoops. Guts and style are the last real categories. We already went over all of this during the song, but just for posterity's sake I'm repeating things. Finally, the big three nebulous Rainbow Dash specific categories. Coolness, awesomeness, and radicalness. That last one's new. Also, Rainbow sunglasses return. Hooray. Twilight says, aren't those all the same thing? Which leads to Rainbow's face. Clearly, Twilight isn't cool, awesome, or radical. Well, not to Rainbow. I'd say Twilight's pretty cool. Maybe even awesome. But not radical. Even I'd agree she's not really radical. The other things, maybe. So yeah, they are set up in events instead of just being one big race. So for speed, it's just a lap track. And the time it takes the tortoise to take one step, the other birds all did at least 2 laps, probably 3, with the falcon getting first place. If I remember correctly from back in the day when the show was airing, people talked about how this species of falcon is usually pretty fast, so I'm gonna assume that's correct. I know falcons in general are fast, but I feel like this specific breed might be faster than others. I don't actually know. I'm not gonna bother looking this one up. The only species I know off the top of the head is the peregrine falcon, but I think that's a really big one, not a really fast one. Or maybe it's both. I don't know. The agility contest, which is using an actual agility course that the Pegasi train on. Pretty sure that this course, it might make a reappearance in the Flyers Championship episode where Fluttershy trains with bulk biceps. That might actually be at the Wonderbolt's headquarters though. I'm not entirely confident. This might also be the obstacle course that Pinkie turns into her own obstacle course when she's trying to get Maud and the main 6 to be friends in that episode. But again, I'm not entirely confident. The hummingbird wins the agility portion, obviously. Hummingbirds, as I said, are the only ones who can fly backwards, meaning they're bound to be more agile, on top of their size and wing power ratio. For the guts contest, they have to try and take Opal's mouse. Damn, that's borderline torture. Rainbow's hard-boiled. The butterfly, which was confirmed to be a monarch in the song, uses some hypnosis type stuff to get the mouse. Not only could the butterfly not hold the toy, I'm pretty sure monarch butterflies don't have hypnotic abilities, and though their patterns are usually used to disorient, I can't fully downplay this possibility. It's used as hypnosis and not disorientation, hence my point and confusion. In a very short amount of time, the tortoise managed to get behind Opal's carrier and tried to tip it over. We saw he ain't that fast, but he does have guts and his shell protects him from Opal's wrath. What's with the fencing these last episodes? Also, for style, she takes pictures with all of them. I'd show all of them, but that'd be annoying, so you only get this one and maybe another. We'll find out in literally a second. Curling apparently exists in the pony world. Weird, but this one actually makes a little bit more sense. Doesn't require thumbs usually, like a lot of other things. Also, Rarity's in charge of this portion of the competition, which obviously makes sense. Rarity is also having a great time doing it, which is adorable. They didn't give us a definitive winner for style, but for coolness, the eagle wins, thanks to its cry. For the awesomeness contest, they have to use their special traits, the bat using echolocation, for example. The owl wins with its 360 head spin. Not really what I'd call awesome. I think echolocation has that beat, but okay, Rainbow, your contest. I don't even know what this one is, radical I assume, but it's basically a talent show, and the eagle that can knit is actually pretty radical. The bat plays the show's theme song and then shatters the glasses it used. That's more metal than radical, but I'll accept it. Oh, well, actually the show beat me to it. Rainbow calls it awesome, but doesn't give it the win since this is the radical contest. Hilarious. Rainbow claims that everyone else didn't make the cut except for these four. However, the tortoise seems to disagree and will continue to hang out regardless. Remember, you can't lose if you just say no. That was a joke. Please don't harass tournament hosters unless they're jerks. No, even then. Be the better person. Oh, you're looking for a gold star, Rainbow? I got you. There you go. The final contest is the big race versus Rainbow herself. Dun dun dun, as she said. The girls brought their pets this time to watch the finale. Also, even Gummy is surprised by what's happening. Also Spike's here now. The winner of the contest is whoever makes it across the finish line with Rainbow, because of course Rainbow will be at the front of the pack. This is definitely not foreshadowing at all. Naturally, Ride of the Valkyries has to play whenever any kind of speed or flying related event happens in media. The bat loses ground in the wind tunnel. The tortoise is making insanely good progress considering his abysmal results in the speed portion of the contest, and the fact that he was on a cliff at the start and had no way to get down other than, I guess, rolling. Maybe that's why he made so much progress, is he just rolled down and used the momentum to get him here. Long. Also, Rainbow is being extra arrogant, treating herself as the greatest of prizes to be won. All that confidence, and for what? The eagle gets set back in the field of thorns. This contest is just animal abuse at this point. I mean, I guess they don't have to compete and they are intelligent enough to understand things, so maybe this is technically fine because it's their own decision. I'm not confident on that though. Actually, all of them get set back here except for the bat who is caught up. The bat demonstrates how useful the echolocation is and avoids everything with ease. The falcon literally has a thorn branch stuck to its wing. It probably wouldn't even be able to fly if we're being honest. Also, get Fluttershy down here pronto. This critter needs some help. The falcon no longer has the branch on in this shot. It's also drawn as just larger than the eagle, which isn't the case normally. Alright, I forgot to mention, but this is Ghastly Gorge. It gets referenced again in a future season, and I think we visited again with Maud, though that might be a slightly different one. I don't actually remember. One of the features of this gorge are the giant Koray eels, which is a land version of the moray eel, of course. While bragging, Rainbow slams into the side of a wall, which somehow expands into a massive crack that breaks off a boulder from the top that falls down, triggering an avalanche, which again, I think this is a rock slide, not an avalanche. Despite surviving several rocks falling onto her, her wing gets caught underneath one, taking Rainbow out of the race. With how we see wings break later in the series, I'm a little surprised this didn't break hers. I guess it's because it's only the furthest tip of one of her primary feathers, probably no bones or at least very few. Also, Rainbow goes from having dirt on her to being perfectly clean like 6 scenes in a row, so I'm just going to mention it here and not bother stitching all those together. Rainbow is apparently upset that the contestants are leaving her, but not because she's scared or anything, but because she's supposed to win. Not entirely sure how to properly explain this aspect of Rainbow. It feels like entitlement, so I'll go with that for now. Rainbow sees herself as the best, or at least projects that as a form of manifestation or something, while also projecting confidence, ego, arrogance, and braggadociousness. That's a fun word for you. Some of Rainbow's biggest flaws are how she behaves when she believes something to be a sure thing, belittling and trash-talking others while constantly boasting about herself, and how she's just that awesome, which of course makes her attitude in Ghostbusters all the more annoying. This episode and moment are a solid way to knock her down a peg and show that there's value in integrity and sportsmanship. I really hope she's a lot better about those flaws moving forward. It'd be good for the show's overall flow. I know she gets over them eventually and only really does it with other hyper-competitive ponies who also do it back, but I don't remember when that shift happens, and I'm hoping it's here. She actually starts to panic as the bravado fades away. This is the face of a pony who deserves everything that's happened to them today. I take it back! She's crying! Abort! Abort! I repeat, Rainbow's experiencing actual emotion and regret. Fall back! Reroute plan! Reroute! Well, that was short-lived. As soon as the tortoise arrives, she goes back to ragging on it for being useless and how she's going to be stuck there with an annoying turtle. We almost got somewhere. This isn't just any tortoise. This is a tortoise that has ascended beyond a normal tortoise. We call it Super Tortoise. So remember how Rainbow lifted that massive metal statue but seemingly can't lift this rock? Well, this tortoise, using literally only its neck, manages to lift it off Rainbow's wing. Bruh. Oh boy, expressions! So the falcon wins, followed by the eagle, then the bat, then the owl. However, the girls start realizing things. Fluttershy gets some serious worry, Twilight looks confused, Pinkie is oblivious as normal, wish it wasn't normal, but whatever. Applejack is also sort of confused, but also kind of placid, while Rarity is becoming aware that something is wrong. Also Spike. Twilight pulls out binoculars to look for Rainbow, and Fluttershy just shoves her out of the way. Hilariously, Twilight still keeps her magic active and lets Fluttershy use it, despite some minor annoyance. And even then moves them to allow Applejack to look. It's a great gag. Also, they just noticed the rock slide. I'm telling you, rock slides of that size and magnitude are loud. They would have easily heard it, especially in a canyon with all the echo going on. Like, that would just reverberate out into the atmosphere. You could probably hear that from miles away. Pinkie calls out that the turtle is coming, which everyone shouts, "Tortoise!" And Pinkie says, "Whatever," but she says it in Fluttershy's voice. Do Pinkie and Fluttershy have the same voice actor? Oh, they do. She oopsied that one, I guess. Andrea Libman actually does a crazy amount of voices for the show, which is pretty impressive. Also, I'm not giving you the actual audio clip to show you because I'm just feeling lazy. Funny slow walk gag. Also, where did Rainbow get the bandages from? Twilight's first lines to her are, "Thank goodness you're not hurt." Girl, she is wearing bandages around her entire torso? She didn't even leave with the bandages. They just appeared. That means she's extra hurt. Though Rainbow claims that only her pride was truly hurt, so I guess that's a good sign. Rainbow, talking about how cool the falcon is while also caring for the tortoise when it gets scared, remembers what I mentioned at the start of the race. She said, "Whichever pet crosses the finish line with me gets to be my pet," using her own words as a loophole to let the pet who stayed by her side and helped her win, which is a really strong decision filled with, say it with me now, loyalty. Good job, show. Not only does the best pet win, but the most loyal pet wins to be the most loyal pony's partner. Granted, obviously we've talked about how shaky her loyalty is, but this is a really good demonstration. This is a very, very good episode for her. Rainbow uses this opportunity to write her letter to Celestia, which is thus, quote, "I used to think that the best thing to look for in a pet or even a best friend were physical abilities, but now I see how short-sighted and shallow that was. Today I learned what the most important quality really is. A certain kind of spirit, a stick-to-itiveness, a never-give-up, can-do attitude. That's the mark of a real winner," end quote. No major notes for this one either, although obviously you want to look for more traits than just that sort of thing, but those are all really good traits to look for, so yeah, good job. And thus, Rainbow names him after something she considers to be unstoppable with overwhelming tenacity. Tank, which means not only do guns exist, but so do machines of war. How dark does the history of this world get? Also, Fluttershy mentions how Rainbow wanted a pet that can fly, so she's not tethered to the ground, which triggers Rainbow's brain. Yes, she does have one, and it's cooking. And thus, they purchase and or craft a magical helicopter device for Tank. Adorable. Although the yellow magic powering it is strange, as we haven't seen a pony using yellow magic yet. Maybe Celestia. Did they ask her? Because that'd be awesome. Well, do the outro. And that was Season 2, Episode 7, May the Best Pet Win. All in all, a really fun episode. It's got so much going for it. Rainbow is pretty effed up in the canyon, but man, does she get her comeuppance, and she gets a nice, strong, powerful moment where you're like, oh man, is she actually gonna have like a breakdown? But then they kind of undercut that with her being just rude to the turtle again. But then she has a nice, wholesome moment at the end with everything going good. Plus, we had some really good music, so I'm gonna give this one probably a 7, 8? You know what? I'll give it an 8. Why not? Screw it. It probably will go down later, but we're gonna put it there for now. See y'all later.